I'm here in Moab, Utah, interviewing Auggie about his free lunch.
And where does that take place?
I'm August, or everybody knows me as Auggie. 2.5 years or so ago, Brer and Hala started that, a young couple. They're married. And they ended up needing to move on. They still live here in Moab, but they couldn't spend as much time as they were doing free meals, so some other people started doing it. Chris Conrad, um, and a young couple named Stephanie and Isaiah.
So what's the process of how you gather the foods and
Um, every day after lunch, we go around and it's summertime now, so there's only 6 stops on a regular day. During the school year, we'll add 2 schools, and then sometimes there's other stops. Somebody calls up and has something, and we'll swing by and pick up the food. But we leave containers at a restaurant or the school, and then we pick those containers up full, and we leave the same amount of empty containers. So if they keep a stash of 3 containers, we pick up 2 full ones and leave 2 empty, so they continue having food. Really what this is about for me is, and a lot of the people involved, is sort of a reduction of waste and trying to get outside the box. Free meal isn't associated with any ideology or anything. It's kind of outside the box, and I think that's really how it has to be, because if it was just another cause or something, then wouldn't be able to fulfill that unconditionality, 2 directions role, or wouldn't be a place for people to get out of the box. It would be a place for them to reinforce some ideology they already had. Not aware of any other places that are exactly like the free meal that we do here in Moab. There are towns where groups do get together and do meals. I'm not sure if anybody's using our model of getting food that was otherwise going to be thrown away from restaurants and schools. But it's really pretty easy. In the state of Utah, the schools have a mandate that they're supposed to find something to do with their leftover food, and we're doing it with just Tupperware containers for the food pickups, and then some crock pots, and the local nonprofit thrift store gave us all the dishes and silverware, so there's no mystery or secret to doing this. It's just sort of putting all the pieces together.
so if there's somebody in some small town in the U.S. or anywhere in the world and are thinking about doing this and stopping the wasting food and paying it forward, so to speak, what would you have to say to them?
I don't like the idea of paying it forward, because that's back to keeping some sort of tabs on give and take, and we shouldn't worry about that. But to get this going, you could start it just 1 day or 2 days a week. I think what works for us is that it's in sort of a neutral location, and that it's taken a little while to build up the crowd we have here, but you want to get some people excited about it that are sort of socially popular in the community, so that other people feel comfortable coming here. It's really difficult for people to overcome their apprehensions because of the stigma around soup kitchens, and around, you got to pay for everything. If you accept something, then that's charity, and it shows that you're in need. And it's like, no, you're not accepting charity. You're reducing waste. You're confronting your attitudes about food and saying, I'm going to do something out of the box that I'm maybe not as comfortable with. And that's the hardest. I guess on a personal note, and one of the things that charities run into is A lot of people know about free meal or hear about it and they say, oh, that's great. And they say, well, come on down and eat. And they go, oh, well, that's great. And or they'll even come up and volunteer to me and say, oh, that's so wonderful what you're doing. It's kind of like, well, there's a whole bunch of people doing it. I'm just sort of the guy that coordinates and organizes and makes sure that somebody shows up to do the dishes. I don't wash dishes that often, but they want to somehow ride on the coattails, and so it goes back to everybody wants to feel good and feel like they're making a difference, but they aren't willing to really get out of their box, their comfort zone, and come down here and eat some leftovers and experiment with both sides of unconditionality, with unconditional receiving.